So it's been a while since I did a little update on this truck. I had the holidays, I was off work, didn't work on this a ton. I did work on it a little bit. I went to take it for a test drive, and during the test drive, I had it all kind of buttoned up enough to take it around the block. Obviously, it's not ready to go on the road, but it's enough to test drive. Doing that test drive, I noticed that it wasn't going into drive correctly. So my first thought was it was a transmission fluid problem, and I have the NAG1 transmission, which was, I know they are super finicky on the amount of fluid that's in them. So my thought was it was a fluid problem. So after ordering the B&M Dipstick, when I first got the engine, I wasn't getting a really good reading off of it. Obviously, I couldn't warm the truck up because the transmission wasn't going into gear. So I was trying to do a cold reading, which wasn't really giving me the right reading. So kind of added more fluid and did some more research, and that really didn't solve my problem. In my research, I found that those dipsticks actually come in a couple different lengths depending on the motor size and the year of your donor car. So there's no markings on it, and I couldn't figure out which dipstick I had actually ordered. So I ended up ordering another dipstick, which I made sure was the right one for my application, which is a 6.4 with a NAG1. That dipstick came in, and it turns out I actually do have the exact dipstick. So now I have two. Great. But I'll save that for a future project, which is not a big deal. Now, I still wasn't getting a good reading, and I still wasn't getting any power out of the rear end. If I had it up on stands, it would be a little bit sluggish, but it would turn. Not knowing a ton about all this stuff, I did some more research and asked around on Facebook and got a lot of, it's a fluid problem. I asked Russell from Sound German what he thought the problem was, and he gave me some great tips, which was basically the NAG1 will actually switch mechanically, not with the computer. So you can rule out if it's a computer problem or not if you just unplug the computer from the side of the transmission. So I did that, and it was the same issue. So in the end, after trial and error, it turns out that the shifter linkage was not tight. So when it was getting put into gear, this linkage, let's turn the light on here, I had upside down, which wasn't allowing it to be actually tight. So when this went back into gear, if I can do this one-handed, it was sliding, but as it dipped behind the plastic, I couldn't see that it was sliding. The way I ended up discovering that was underneath where the actual linkage is connected on the side of the transmission. So what was happening, it was basically in neutral with a tiny bit of drive. So on stands, it was enough fluid to kind of get the tires to sort of move, but not really. Once you put it on the ground, there was too much friction, and there wasn't enough fluid going through the system to make it actually move. So tighten that bolt, made sure it was going into all my gears. That's all good. Problem is now it snowed here. So I don't really want to take this in the snow yet until I'm kind of happy with where I'm at. So I'm waiting for the snow to clear to take it for its first drive. And while I wait for that, I figured I might as well start mocking up my box. So I do have a box. It's not from the 30s era cab that I have. It's actually from a 40s era, which is fine. It's got some nice patina kind of matches. So I think it's good enough. Obviously it was stored vertically for a while, so it looks like I got rust flames now. But I'm just starting to mock this up. The biggest problem I have is with the frame and the cab, I didn't really leave myself a lot of room. So I can't actually slide the box panel behind. Again, first stab at this, I should have left myself a couple inches between the back of the cab and the frame, so I had room to actually set that. So what I ended up having to do was cut the back panel, which is not a big deal because this is all just basically going to get a layer of wood. It's obviously way high up. Again, live and learn. This is things I would change. I probably would have dropped this lower if I had done it again, and I think I would have gotten rid of these tall shock towers. Obviously, in my mock-up here, it looks like I don't really have to cut the box to accommodate the shock towers. So in the future, I may just get smaller shocks so that I can get a better bed out of this truck. I kind of shifted gears on this truck. Initially, I was going to go for the kind of long travel suspension on everything. And then once I did the front end, it's obviously a much shorter coilover. Now, obviously, I can extend and get more travel out of the front and kind of get that look. But I think these are like way overkill on the back here. So I think what I might do is next winter is hack these off and actually mount them under the frame with a smaller coilover. And that will give me back my full bed. So the plan here is I'm going to take this bed and cut it up for my needs. So obviously it's about more than a foot. It's probably 1.5 feet too long. So the ideal is it's going to come to the end of here. So I have to basically cut this up. The good thing about this is it's just completely flat. There's nothing rolled into it, no details. So it should be fairly easy just to hack and then splice back together. And then I'll build a subframe all around the inside and hang it off of the frame of the truck. And I think it's just gonna get some barnwood on the top. Again, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do about the fuel cell because it really interferes. So I might end up building like a little metal box that goes over top, kind of making it look old and rustic. I do have a metal box that I might measure to see if it can just cover. Yeah, that's the plan. So until the snow clears, I am stuck just making progress on it. So when I do actually do the first drive, it probably will have the box on it. Anyways, that's where I'm at. I just figured I'd put some info down in video so I remembered my transmission problem for future, because in the future I know I'm going to run into this problem again, and now I know. Thanks.